Hello, sir. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, Almo.
Hi, how are you, sir? How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, doing good.
Good. Thank you so much for joining me today, sir. And basically, I already gave you a heads up on what's the idea of this mini podcast. So it's more about to get to know you and let the people know your interesting background. So, sir, again, usually I do this to the people who are
Mm.
always joining as a guest. Since I mean, I know you, but some of them might know you and some of them might not. Do you mind introducing yourself to the viewers? I mean, we have at least 10 viewers for now. Let the people know who is Captain Shim.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so hello everyone, and I'm Moses Shim, and I'm Korean pilot in the Philippines. And then, as Almo says, we met each other in the school and through the school, like school mates or something like that. Yeah.
Hmm.
And then I've been staying in the Philippines. I've been actually growing up here, starting like second year high school, and I used to came here during grade school days. So actually, I'm pure Korean. Many people ask me, "Are you half Chinese or half Korean? I know half Filipino or like that." Yeah, but I'm very solid blood Korean. But I've been here like more than 20 years, and I spent like more than half of my life. So yeah, and then I've been flown in the Philippines for over turning like 18 years, and
Oh,
now
wow.
I'm working in the airline as a captain on Airbus 321. Yeah,
Oh,
I fly for the flag carrier here now. Yeah.
nice, nice. I mean, I'm sure, like what I told you, sir, especially from my friends and from the people around me. Everybody knows who's Captain Shim is, but some of them don't know him personally or they know you by name. Since you've introduced yourself, sir, let's get a little bit more into details or a little bit more into who you are. So, can you explain to us or give us a life journey phases and what are the turning points? I mean, you already said like you came here and you've been working, but a little bit more on how you grew up and how things changed from one to another.
All right. So I was born in Korea, and I was raised in Korea up to like second year high school, as I said. But
Hmm.
starting grade four, five, six, every year I went to Philippines for just to have a English learning or to
Oh,
attend the
okay.
institute to learn English. And but I only spent vacations during those days. And
Oh.
by year 2000, when I became like second year high school, I made a decision. I told my parents that I want to study in the Philippines. So at
Oh,
first,
okay.
actually, my parents didn't want me to came to Philippines because they I supposedly only one whom they have to send.
Hmm. Yeah.
So so they really didn't want didn't like the idea at first. But later on, since I really eager to wanted to live in the Philippines, they sent me out here. So that's how I started. And honestly, like when I was during my childhood days, like teenager days, I was not really that smart or elite student, and I made a little problem during those days. Yeah, so honestly, I didn't want to study in Korea. That's why I escaped from
Oh,
Korea.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
because of their
okay.
culture and system, so and so.
Hmm.
So, and I started schooling here. And at first, actually, my dream was only to become a vendor. I didn't really
Oh,
plan
wow.
about my future. Yeah, I didn't want to plan for my long-term future. I just wanted to live for the day, for a day, something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, but still, since I had the experience with flying on the plane when I was grade four, and that was the first time I ride it on the plane to Manila from Korea, and I took Korean Air like 747 jumbo that time. I was so amazed, and it was really very excited moment for my entire life.
Yes.
So from then, I had an interest about airplanes and then like airlines or aviation industry. However, I never thought about that I could become something like this, uh,
Oh,
position as a pilot or captain like
mhm,
that.
yeah.
And then yeah, and then when I became like teenage days, like teenager days, yeah, I was not really doing good with the school life. So yeah, at that time I totally lost my dream, and then I was dreaming to become like street vendor or whatever like that. And then that's the one of the main reason why I moved into Philippines because I didn't like to stay there in Korea. I didn't like their culture and study whatever. Yeah, and I was lucky. I met good people here, so they raised me up here
Okay.
very well. And I met a good guardian here, so those guardian took care of me here in the Philippines, and then they gave me a good guidance. And I was lucky. I still had an interest on the aviation, but I couldn't thought of become like even cabin crew or
Oh yeah,
pilot or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah, but when I entered high school in Quezon City that time, I
Mm-hmm.
studied from Montessori, and I was lucky. I have a classmate who already started to fly at third year high
Oh,
school.
oh
Yeah,
wow.
so he was studying in like Pampanga area. Maybe I
Okay.
should not mention the name of flying school.
Yeah, it's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Anyway, so he was already private pilot, although he's my classmate at third year high school. So
Oh
I
wow.
was very impressed, and he's in Cebu Pacific now. Anyway,
Oh
so
wow.
I was very impressed by him, and then I was at that time I was thinking at first maybe I should dream something higher. So at first I was trying to consider cabin crew, but later on when I met this guy, oh, this boy is already flying, so why not for me?
Yeah,
So
exactly.
yeah, so that's the time I started to dreaming of becoming becoming a pilot. And then these friends, I met two friends from high school who had an interest in the aviation, and then I
Mm.
never knew about there's an aviation school in the Philippines by then. But
Oh.
these guys gave me a guidance to the school where I graduated for my college. So one of out of two, the other friend even joined the college together with me, although he didn't finish. So
Mhm.
that's how I started, and how I started to have a dream of becoming a pilot.
And then everything
Yeah,
started from there.
yeah, it is. So I still feel very appreciated from this guy, and he's one of my best friends still. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice. That's so nice. The rest became history from what you said. And look at you now, like you're flying one of the captains and one of the people that I really know who helps people or students to become or achieve their dreams. But before we get too serious, sir, let's let the people know or have an idea. Do you remember how we first met, or you can give them an idea on how we met for the first time?
Oh, with you, Almo?
Yeah, sir.
Yeah. Actually, we are like same. We have a same alma mater in the college,
Hmm.
so we graduated from same college. However,
Yeah.
I joined college. Can we still mention name of college or no?
I think it's fine. I mean, yeah, Airlink, yeah, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Go there, yeah, it's
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah, sure. So I started studying at Airlink 2003 and graduated 2007. And I believe Almo joined like 2010, is it?
Yes, sir.
Or
2000.
somewhere like that. Yeah, so for me, I graduated 2007 and I became like instructor there first and I joined the
Okay.
airline. But although I've been working with airline, I still work in airline as a part-time
Yeah.
instructor. And I still had a lot of Korean junior students,
Mm.
and
Yeah.
Almo was always fond of playing football with my Korean students. So actually, we met in the pitch while playing
Yeah.
the football together, and then we got to know each other. And when we see each other in the school, we got closer.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's
Exactly.
it. Yeah.
One of my close friends, like who invited me to play, and then so we talk about soccer, and then same thing, sir. Like every time everybody talks about you, and then they were like, "Oh, we're gonna play with Captain Shim," and at the same time, I met you there, sir. For this segment, I'm gonna give you like questions, but you're gonna have to answer me with one like answer. So I just want to know what are your limited and favorite stuff here since you're in the Philippines, or a little bit more in general. So just one answer for one question. I mean, if you do want to explain, it's okay. But let the people know what is your favorite Filipino food?
Well, it's very difficult question because I'm already like a Filipino, and I consider myself as a Filipino by heart. So I love
Yeah.
so much food in the Philippines, but
Mhm.
well, it's very hard, one of the hardest thing. But maybe if I have to say, if I have to choose one, I'll go for sisig.
Oh,
Pork sisig, yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, favorite soccer team? I know you play soccer and you're a big fan of soccer. Favorite soccer team?
Yeah, well, for now, mm, yeah, it's also another hard question. But for now, I'll go for the like Juventus
Oh,
or
okay.
Paris. Yeah, Paris.
Paris. I thought you were gonna say a little bit like Tottenham or Man U. Sir, favorite plane? I know you've flown a lot of aircraft from different airlines, from different from flying school. I mean, from small aircraft to bigger to large to huge. What is your favorite aircraft or plane?
All right. Are you asking about the favorite aircraft from among the aircraft that I've flown before
Yeah,
or anything?
from the what? Yeah, from the one. Okay, let's put it as everything, anything. It would sound good.
If it's everything, I'll go for 747 Jumbo because that was
Hmm.
my first
Like
ride
the
on
dream.
the plane. Yeah, and then I think most of pilot it's their dream to fly it and
Exactly. Yeah,
going up the sky someday, right? Yeah.
true. Sir, best time to fly? Morning, afternoon, 7 p.m., 7 a.m. What is your favorite best time to fly?
Well, I think it depends on the people and their life cycle. But for me, I'm like a late sleeper. So actually, I prefer the evening flight or even red-eye flight. But I really hate early morning flight because if it's early morning flight, I have to report even like 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock,
I
4 in the
get
morning.
it.
Yeah, and that means that I should not sleep. So I go for the like late afternoon or evening flight. Yeah.
Yeah. Favorite airport you've been at? I'm sure you've been all around the world, but what is one of your favorite airport in general?
Yeah, since we fly many different destinations, I've been through many airports, but if you ask me to choose one, I'll go for Incheon because that's where my family are.
Yeah, yeah.
So always excited
Um,
to go home to see my family. Yeah.
I mean, in what way? Just for a way that you see your family, or is because in a way where the airport is too big, or is it for the ATC controllers, or is it just because it's home?
I think it's not actually, I honestly I feel Philippines as more home-like than
Okay,
Korea
okay.
now
Wow.
because I've been here already pretty long. And actually, I am been
Mhm.
working on myself to be a Filipino now. I'm
Oh
on
no,
progress
very
process
nice.
now. Yeah,
Hmm.
so I feel more comfortable and I feel like more home in while staying in the Philippines. However, still my relatives, friends, and many
Ex
of my family
are
members
all
are still there. So it's always excited to see my parents there. I mean, my mom
true.
and sisters there. So yeah, it makes me
All right.
yeah good. Yeah.
Uh, for next, sir, I'll be showing you like at least four pictures. I did some research through your Instagram, your Facebook. I'm not gonna show
Mm,
anything bad, just a little bit more fun. These pictures need a little bit more context and a little bit statement. So if you can explain to us what is really happening in the picture, or you can tell us the story about the picture. So this is the first picture, sir. I'm not sure if you can see it.
oh yeah, of course. Yeah, it's a little bit blurring. Yeah, but it's like my wedding pic. Yeah.
mhm. Yeah, it
Yeah,
is
that's
blurry.
my wedding
Sorry.
picture. Yeah. Yeah. I got it. Yeah. But it looks not, it looks different from now. The guy there is very skinnier than what I have now. Yeah. That's my
What about
wedding picture. Yeah.
mhm. What about
Mm.
this one, sir? I'm not sure if you can really see it. It's you and your wife and your kids. Like you guys are singing on a TV show, I think, or it's like an opera or like a church. I'm not sure if you can see
Yeah.
that.
Actually, it was like church conference,
Mhm.
word
Okay.
class, like church conference in Korea. And there were like gathering of like over 30,000 audience and participants. And then
Mhm.
we had the opportunity to just went up the stage and then
Oh,
have some
nice.
songs.
Uh, sir, this one. I'm not really sure if you can see this. I
Oh no, my hair is different.
exactly. I zoom in. This is
Yeah,
Captain Slim for everybody to see that.
yeah, the one with the yellow hair there.
Is
Yeah, it
this
was
more
my
like
mm,
continue, sir?
yeah, it was our football team back then during my college days. So we used to attend and join some competition. Yeah.
Last picture, sir, and I think this will be a bigger, this will really have an explanation. Really walk me through this and tell me what is happening with this one. What is the story behind the YouTube channel and how did it start and what's the plan or what's behind this?
Oh, I see. So I just started this YouTube channel very recently, about
Hmm.
just a month ago. Well, I've been always thought about this YouTube thing, but I couldn't start because of my
Hmm.
workload. Because I'm doing a lot of things like aside of flying, I have to take care of a lot of different things and ministries and business or whatever. So I couldn't thought about opening up my own channel yet. However, because of this lockdown, COVID-19, it gave me great
Mm.
opportunity for me to have a time to try to work on it. So I've been helping many student pilots for pretty long, and I've been giving them a lot of good some advisories, or sometime I bring them home to teach them, or sometime I go to school still
Yes.
to help them and teach them
Mm.
on instrument flying or about flying, simulator or ground schooling, whatever. So I was always thought about it like I found that I'm kept repeating the same thing again and again. I
Mhm.
have to. Most of people are asking the same question again and again, and most people I teach them the same lecture again and again. So I was thinking myself, rather than like teaching them the same stuff and lecture again, or giving them the same advices or some consultation again and again, what if I make my own video or something like that? So
Yeah, so became.
that's where I came up, and then in addition, I wanted to. It's kind of, I feel this is kind of a YouTube channel for like internship, or
Okay.
like, yeah, just giving them a like some experience through the visual.
Oh, view,
So
yeah.
although they cannot go to the cockpit, or although they cannot go to some area, I can
Yeah.
still like share with them through this visual clip or whatever. And I wanted to introduce how's the life being a
The life. Yeah,
pilot, or yeah,
exact.
yeah.
Yeah.
And in the
For those
future,
who are, sorry, continue, sir. Sorry.
yeah, and in the future, I also want to bring up with like vlog about like traveling around the world as a pilot family or something
Mm-hmm.
like that. Those are my plan in the future. Yeah. And
I
then
mean, oh, continue.
lastly, with regards to channel, I feel a little bit guilty to like Filipino or like English speaking like audience or my subscribers, because at first I tried to speak even in English, or I tried
Mm-hmm.
my best to manage in balance between Korean and English. But when I searched the internet or YouTube, I found that there are really lack of the resources and material in
Oh, okay.
Korean language. So now, for the meantime, although I'm still making English subtitles, I decided to make visual more for Korean guys, focus
Mm-hmm.
more focused for Korean guys. But eventually, I'll try to come up with the English versions too. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that would be very helpful. And then for those who are watching, I mean you can always go check out the page for Captain Shim, and you can just like and subscribe the videos. You will literally learn some stuff and get a different view. Sir, let's jump now. Like what I said, we have a couple a little bit too serious questions. Growing up, from what you explained and experience, did you have a character you looked up to growing up, like
Well,
idol?
yeah. So if you are asking the character from the in person, I was inspired by. There are many people, naman, but I was inspired by like two people from States. One is like
Mm.
Abraham Lincoln, and the
Oh,
other one
okay.
is like John Wanamaker.
Mm-hmm.
So if I add one more, maybe Rockefeller, maybe.
Oh,
So
okay.
when I read their life stories about when I read their book about their own life stories, I was really inspired about, yeah, how they had done
Mm-hmm.
with their
Mm-hmm.
career. Yeah.
Mm. And spoke of or in talk about flight, can you share with us an experience of your flight that you can share with us in general? Anything you want to talk about, an experience that you had in flight or
Well, since I've been flown already for like turning 18 years, although it's not really that long, but I cannot say it was that short either. So
true.
I've been through a lot of experiences. And then I feel I'm blessed, and I was lucky enough and very much blessed that I experienced a lot of different operations. I started from aeronautical college, then I went to the regional airline, so I could fly on the turboprop, and I
Mm-hmm.
became captain on turboprop. Then I've been through the low cost operation, and then now I'm on the full service operation too. So I've
Mhm.
been experienced so much different, like missionary flights to full service experience, flying international,
Yes.
whatever. So yeah, so those were a great opportunity for me. And if I have to choose on most experience that I cannot forget, I could say the one of the emergency that I encountered. Actually, I already tried a couple of emergency during all days, not the
Yes.
current employer or previous employer. When I flew like turboprop days, I had a lot of problem with like weather or because of the old aircraft and
Mhm.
because of the airports are really bad and that time the regulations and so and the most moment that I experienced that was that I remember is which is in the YouTube. Yeah, like I encounter very bad hydraulic emergency right after I released or
Mhm.
right after I became a captain at age of 24 years old only. And
Wow.
then yeah, so I became a captain of the turboprop airliner by age of 24, and then right after less than 2 weeks, it just happened. We took off from Katikilan airport, which is a Boracay airport, and that
Yes.
time it was only like 850 meters runway. We just
Okay.
took off, and then I started while climbing. Right after took off, while climbing, I started to hear a lot of like ring sounds and alarms, and then we found out we were losing our hydraulic fluid. So that
Oh
time I
wow.
was flying like turboprop aircraft, which is Dornier 328. And then at first we lost the main system, and secondly we
Oh,
lost the secondary system. And while we are approaching Manila, we lost also our last emergency system, almost lost, almost, except
mm.
for the priority valve. So uh, it, and then it just happened. Even my first officer at the time, he was newly released, less than a month, and I was
Oh wow.
released only less than 10 days. And then I was only age of 24, and I had a lot of passenger at back. It was fully loaded,
Mhm.
so we tried to gear down, but landing gear didn't went down, and
Mhm.
I couldn't manage the flaps to go down. So flap didn't work out, and landing gear didn't work out. Even the nose wheel steering didn't work. Even there are even no brakes at all. So I couldn't apply brake. I couldn't apply the rudder to control the nose because there's no nose wheel steering, and then there's not even flaps, and passengers are fully loaded. It was really bad. So initially, when we tried to extend our gear, there was nothing, and there kept a lot of things are alarming in the cockpit. So when we arrived in Manila, I requested to hold over some waypoint at first, and
Mhm.
while holding and wasting our fuel, we tried to manage the flying, and then we tried to plan. We tried to communicate with tower and our operation, and we even had to
Oh wow.
request for ground emergency equipments. So
Yeah.
everyone's were like waiting for us on the ground, and I briefed the passenger and cabin crew, and they were preparing for the brace for impact. And I thought I almost went with like Bali landing that time, but
Mhm.
was really lucky. Very last minute, while trying to doing emergency gear extension procedure, repeating again. Very last minute, the gear went down. So at
Oh
least there
wow.
was a landing gear went down, and weather was perfectly nice. And then I prayed so hard while approaching. Yeah. So it was really perfect condition. I really appreciate from everyone that back then. And then I was able to land very safely. And then yeah, it was really a great experience. I cannot really forget my crew that time, and they're always talking about this story. And then yeah, it was very memorable. And even after landing, I didn't have a brakes and then nose wheel, so it was so hard to control the aircraft. So what I had to do is like instead of kicking the rudder, though I kicked my rudder, it didn't work because there's no nose
Oh,
wheel.
yeah.
So what? Yeah, so what I had to, and there's not even brakes. If there's a brake, I
Yeah,
could use the
exactly.
differential
I was gonna
brake.
ask you
But
that.
yeah, there's not even brakes, so I couldn't even use the differential brake to control the nose. So at first it was wind calm and Kabog and so nice weather. So I touched down at like Petty Center. However, the time passes by little by little. The aircraft start to like moved or skid into the left side, if I'm not mistaken. So in that short time period, although we used to do it in the simulator, it's my very
Hmm.
first time, so I couldn't experience that in my real life, and I was only 24. But uh, I think God gave me the wisdom very in short, quick time. So
Yes, definitely.
I suppose not even use my reverser because once I use the reverser, it's too strong, so I could even spin up and skid up. So what I did is I just put my power on the beta mode. It's
Hmm.
not totally reverse, just reverse idle. And then I use very slight differential reverser to maintain my center line. And then I stop on the runway. And then all the emergency cruises came up.
Came
Yeah.
off. Yeah. For those, sir, for I mean, for those who are watching, some don't really understand when you say, like, for example, flap, differential braking. This can be watched in your YouTube, right? For extra details and to know what Captain Shim is really talking about. Like what you mentioned, you did upload this on your channel, sir, right?
hmm
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
you
it is.
people,
It's there. Yeah.
so they can go and check it out. For our next question, sir, what are you known for around your flight crew members? Are you known for the guy who takes pictures? Are you the serious captain? Are you the funny one? Are you the one? So what are you known for around your flight crew members?
Oh, well, it's also another hard question because, well, yeah. Yeah, because the way I thought myself may be different from way other think about me. But one thing I'm sure is I'm pretty. Maybe they consider me as a very special because, as everyone knows, it's really hard to become a pilot itself, especially in the Philippine society. It's very become hard to become a pilot as a foreigner, and especially during my time, there were none of any foreign national, or there were very minimal or even none of the foreign national working in the Philippines as a pilot. So I've been always through the pioneer here as a first foreign or first Korean instructor, first foreign or Korean like captain or pilot, something like that. So a lot of people remembers me as one of the, and also the youngest, one of the youngest. Yeah, so many people remember me as the youngest, the Korean pilot or something like that. Yeah,
Yeah.
and when it comes to work, I try my best to. I cannot be a perfect, but I trying my best to perfect, although I cannot be a perfect. And I'm
Mhm.
trying my best to work really hard as a professional way. But though when it's off the duty, I try to be very friendly, like brothers or something like that. Like
Uh,
almost sometimes we play as a
yeah,
friend, playing football. Yeah,
exactly.
that's something like
So
that. Yeah.
you would separate that. Sir, one question is actually, I mean, because I did ask some people to for help for some question. If you can explain, what is the truth behind turning off the phone for the passengers before takeoff? Because they would usually say like, why do we have to turn off the phone or put it on aircraft mode or airplane mode? Sorry. So what is the truth behind it? Like, can you give us an explanation about that?
Yeah, it's all related to radio signal, I think. So
Mm-hmm.
in aircraft, we have a lot of navigational system which guide us into like our destination or certain
Yeah.
like specific waypoints like that. So we really require to have a lot of signal receiving a signal from different sources. And if passengers are using a lot of mobile phone, it may interrupt our signal for our navigational system. So nowadays they lessen that restriction. So sometimes they allow as a like flight mode, or they allow you to turn on during cruise or whatever.
Mhm.
But during takeoff and landing, it's very serious matter
Yeah,
that
critical.
it
Yeah.
may interrupt. Yeah, critical matter that it may interrupt our navigation system. Yeah.
All right, so for those who are watching, now you guys know. If you didn't, now you know. So it does might interrupt. And we're down for the last two questions, sir. I mean, I think it might be too personal, but sir, are you what you want to be growing up? I mean, I know you did explain that you didn't have the plan at first growing up during your high school and college, but for now, are you the person that you want to be growing up?
Yeah, well, actually, it's just like a dream. Like when I started to have a dream to become pilot before back then, like high school days, most of my friends told me you never can make it because they know where I am from. So that's what they said. And at this moment, no one can say the same thing to me because I'm already in position as a experienced captain of the airline. But for now, I have a dream. This is just like dream, which it's just like
Mm.
something like what I used to have during the
Yeah,
grade school and
yeah,
high school days. So from high school, at first I was just like, it was like a joke. Every notebook or every my objects or every items of mine, I always put my name as a Air Moses CEO.
yeah. Mm. Yeah.
So it was just kind of my dream of dreams. So I always
Mm-hmm.
put Hermosa CEO as my own identity. And when I went to college, I started flying, and then my dream got a little bit more serious. And
Okay.
even up to now, I'm not losing hold of my dream to become an airline CEO or the management of the airline. So for this moment I don't have enough money or I don't have enough
Mm.
experience or knowledge to become that position. But that's just my dream, and then I'm hoping maybe one of someday in after decades or whatever, if I have opportunity, I would love to have a chance to try to like manage some company or whatever like that. Yeah, that's my dream
Yeah,
for now.
that's so nice. One of the last questions, sir. I mean, most of the viewers who are watching, I think, or maybe I'm gonna upload this, who are gonna be following you or following me, are mostly our student pilots. So for this last questions, I'm gonna ask you, what advice are you gonna have or give to the students who are having plans, having dreams? Any advice in general for you to the student pilot for the future or to get to the airlines?
All right, so well, yeah, well, it may be a very long talk, or I can
Yeah.
make it very short. Yeah.
Mhm.
So at first, it's very hard to like discuss this kind of matter because as of this moment, as everyone knows, airline industry is really bad. So it's very
Mhm.
hard to
True.
encourage anyone to just why don't you try it, that, and then they may end up with very unsuccessful life. So it's
True.
very hard to encourage them. And but regardless of that, normally the airline industry are booming up. Normally, every 3 to 5 years, there are mass hiring for
Mhm.
pilot, and after that, there's some resting period, and they are starting to hiring a lot of pilots again, so something like that. So, at first, as I predict, in my own opinion, although we are having a hardest time in the aviation industry and history, hopefully maybe in 2 to 3 years or even 4 to 5 years it should it may recover
Mhm.
and there will be mass hiring again. So for the student, the thing that I want to say is you don't have to worry about situation or the circumstances now. But
Mhm.
I'm always telling my junior in Erling, or I'm always telling this story about telling story share with this story with other like
Mhm.
students. Whenever they ask me that they want to be a pilot and they're asking normally how to become a pilot and how's the salary perks and benefits like
Yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah.
But I'm always asking them at my first question on them is this your patient? Is
Mhm.
this what you really want
You really
to?
want
And is
to do,
this
yeah.
really, is this really your dream? And are you sure that you are not going to regret with your decision? If not, if it's just because of for fun, or if it's just because of your salary or perks, benefits for travel, whatever, then I always tell them you just forget about it. So
True.
even airline students, like especially my Korean like juniors, although they're first year, second year high school, I'm always telling them rather than to be too late, you quit it early if you cannot
Mhm.
make it. But
True.
if you feel you really have a passion for the skies and if you have passion for the airplane, and although you cannot make the airline at the end, if you're really love to and born to be a pilot
Mhm.
and flying, and if you can tell yourself that though you're going to fly only two-seater plane for your entire life, then that's enough for you. then you go
Hmm.
for it, and I'll try my best to support you in many different area. But if you feel just this looks like very classy and looks making fun, and then you can be a friend with a lot of cabin crew and many salary involved and so on. So then I'm always telling them forget about it, because for sure you won't be make it. So
Yeah,
most important thing is, I think, your passion. If you really have a
want it.
passion on it, and if you really want it, if you really have a like mental strength to accept this one, because it's really hard to become a pilot, and it's very easy to pay your money to have a be trained, but
Exactly.
even during training it's still hard. There are a lot of students are failing during training, but you're a customer during training days, so you pay your flying hours. So it's easy to build up your time if you're paid. But joining airline is something different. It's really hard. So if you have a passion, I believe that passion will guide you to the airline or your goal. But if your thought is just to have a better life or better salary package or like better look or something like that, I don't think you can make it. So that's advice that I want to give my fellow
Well,
aviators.
well said, sir. I mean, I
Yeah.
mean, even listening to that, that can be taken to student pilots and also people who are not into aviation. That's very, very well said. Like you can take that advice as aviation and for other careers. Sir, before we do end up, I'll just let's see if we do have any questions from our viewers. We'll see any questions that we can ask. I mean, we did have a question before. I think we passed. Does Captain Shim know how to speak Tagalog fluently, or that's one of the questions.
Sinong sabi?
There you go. You guys have it. That's for Captain Shim. Sir,
Yeah,
one question here is that,
yeah.
sige, go ahead, sir. You want to speak more, sir?
Yeah. So actually, as I said, medyo matagal naman ako dito. And syempre, mas matagal ako dito kaysa Korea. So, and nag-grow up ko pa dito sa Pinas, starting from high school, even consider grade school. I'm just like a Filipino. And dati naman, when I speak English or Tagalog, normally the Filipino people ask me, like, are you Korean, or like, oh, you're good in speaking Tagalog or English. That means you're a foreigner, but you can
Yeah.
practice English. But nowadays in airline, when I speak Tagalog, Taglish, they said, uh, they don't even ask. Without asking, they consider me as a
Yeah,
Filipino or
the
half
Filipino. Yeah,
Chinoy.
yeah, yeah. Chino.
And when I tell them, no, I'm a Korean, I'm pure Korean, and sometimes they don't want to believe me
They
because they
believe
heard
you, yeah.
that I'm a half like
Half
Chinese or half
Filipino.
Korean, something like that. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's well said. Sir, one question here says, for long flights, how do you get bored? If so, how do you not get bored for long flights? Like during long flights, how do you not stay bored during long flight? What do you do to not stay bored?
Yeah, well, it depends on how long are the flight. But for me, I'm still flying like Airbus 320 and Airbus 321. But I had the opportunity to fly on the Neos. So
Hmm.
sometimes we brought that aircraft to like the longest destination I flew is like Sydney and
Oh,
Auckland
wow.
and like Australian flights. So those
Hmm.
are taking around more or less 8 hours straight.
Okay.
So those kind of flights, we normally put like place three crew or four crew. So two sets of the crew, total of four pilots or three pilots. So normally we
Okay.
do the rotation. So all the flights are long. Since we have a three or four pilots, we are on duty very on a short period only. And then sometimes we stay in the cabin, like business class side. And if
Mhm.
we're on duty, we come back to cockpit and share like 3 hours, 2 hours, 2 hours, something like that. So flight is basically not that pretty long as working,
Mhm.
but because we stay in the cabin. So while staying in the cabin, we rest, we take a nap, and we have a like enjoying the business food and business like
Yeah.
class seats, something like that. However, if you're talking about like two-man crew flights, for two-man crew, normally the longest flight we do is normally maybe with the 320, it's a Japan flight or more or less 4 hours flight. So during those flights, Yeah, we still work on the cockpit, and then we just share the story between the first officer
And the
and
two.
captains. Yeah, and yeah, something like that. So normally we become very like chismoso. Yeah,
Thank you so much. I'm sure a lot of
yeah.
people, from the people who were watching, I'm sure they picked up something or they learned something, learned from your experience. I would like to thank you so much for joining me. I will stay in touch. I hope to see you again on the pitch and maybe fly with you soon. Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much.
Sure, sure. Thank you very much for this opportunity. Yeah, see you around. Sana,
All
we can
right.
play
See you.
football soon.
Yes, sir. Hopefully soon, sir. I will see you
Yeah,
soon. Thank you, sir. Have a good
yeah.
night. Have a good
Thank
day.
you, and thank you. Bye, folks. Yeah.
Bye.